Welcome in. This is 300 yards to unknown. I'm Rick Gehman. That right there is Eric Patterson. E-Pat, what up, my dude?
Rick, I'm just here bracing myself for what appears to be potentially another Spieth week. He's off to a good start so far, so we could be in for back-to-back, which is kind of unexpected in 2021, but here we are.
Just as we came on, he was holing out for eagle from the fairway of 10, which got Twitter a bit of a buzz. It's got me all hyped up. I got to admit, I'm in a bunch of one and dones, but I rolled out Spieth in about half of them this week, and I was I'm still very nervous about it. It's not like I can be happy Thursday. This guy's a disaster waiting to happen.
It's going to come down to Sunday again. We'll see though. It's exciting. I mean, this tournament doesn't have the most juice, but the way to get the juice is to have Spieth in the mix on Sunday. So hopefully he gets there. I mean, Cantley's separating himself early, but again, it is early.
Yeah, Cantley birdied like 7 of his first 8 holes or something, which is a bit unfair when you are already Patrick Cantley and you jump out to a lead like that. So we'll see. Obviously, plenty of golf left to be played. They're still going to have to go over and play Spyglass, which is the harder side. So we'll know much more about this Friday evening when everybody's played around at each. I've got a couple of topics I want to get into with you.
I think you're a little fired up. I can tell you're a little bit fired up.
I've been getting more fired up recently than most weeks. I think. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Too much time on Twitter.
I'm definitely spending too much time on Twitter, and it's seeping into my brain. And topic number one does, of course, come from Twitter, and it comes from 10-time PGA Tour winner, twice a Players Champion, one-time Major Champion, Steve Elkington, who I guess does like a golf show or like provide some type of golf content, which I was not completely aware of, but I'm sure you saw this, Eric. He made a buzz by saying strokes gained is rubbish, and that the reason that they don't use it, meaning whatever Steve Elkington's company or website is because the tour pros don't use it. And as you can expect, there was a bit of backlash on that, my friend.
I watched the video. Obviously, I didn't give it as much attention as other people, but some of the stuff that Steve Elkington says is, to use his word, rubbish to begin with. So I don't really pay it much attention, but I guess what he does is like provide data to some select tour pros. Cause like he has like a team of guys on tour. Like he's like, like the 15th club sometimes like provides data to golfers, like the European Ryder Cup team and a few other guys, but like,
and the
I'm pretty sure that's what. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's what Elkington does or promotes himself as. Maybe I'm completely off, but that's what my understanding of what, this secret golf company or whatever he runs is. So
but what does he provide? Like, I don't understand what he's providing.
I think that data, stats. That's what I think. That's what he's talking about in his okay, if you want to outline like his spiel, or maybe you want to play it,
sure.
I don't know if
I don't know if I can play it, but basically he says this. He starts by saying all strokes gained aren't created equal, which is 100% true. He makes the statement about, you could have a 6-foot putt all the way down the hill, and on the opposite side of the hole, it's a 6-foot putt and it's all the way up the hill and it breaks from left to right, and one doesn't have a break. And those are treated equally by the strokes gained system. So he's absolutely right there. But then he goes on to say, he says the reason we never use strokes gained is because tour players don't use it, which is patently false. By
100% inaccurate.
By almost any way you want to look at it. I mean, a lot of guys, and I think was it you that tweeted this out? Justin Thomas, in his goals for a specific season, will say, I want to have strokes gain numbers of X, and I want to do around the green in Y.
Yeah,
that is just straight up false. 1
+ 1 or better strokes gain tee to green was a goal of Justin Thomas's in 2010, or 2019. So to say that they don't use it is just made up. That's just incorrect.
And then he kind of went even further and said it's this thing out of MIT and it's rubbish, which, okay, listen. And this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. It was golf stats in general, and this was a really good way to get into it. Like, there are certainly flaws in the strokes gained metrics. They don't use the lasers on every single course. There is no topography built into it, so that he's absolutely right about his 6-foot putts. They could be completely different, but the strokes gain system treats them the same. But that is pretty objectively the best possible stat keeping thing that we have in golf right now.
Yeah, this is, you just said it there. It's the best. It's the most advanced stats that the PGA Tour or that people use on the PGA Tour in tracking all this. So to say it's, I guess maybe it's like, I don't know, baseball. Like there's still the old guard that beats on the drum about, you know, advanced analytics and stuff like that. So maybe this is Elkington taking his stance against. He didn't really provide what stats he uses. Maybe that's part of the other video or later on in the conversation.
I have them.
What does he use? I need to know what he uses.
All right, so perfect segue to this is later in the video or somewhere else. He reveals his top 5 key stats for Pebble Beach this week. So of course, this is only for this week. I don't know what his overall philosophy on stats is, but here are the 5 stats that he said are the top 5 key stats for Pebble Beach. Number 1, putting from 5 to 10 feet. Number 2, I know it gets
bad start.
Number 2, putting average. Number
what does that
3,
mean?
so you took 27.2 putts per round.
Not even like putts per green and reg, just like straight number putting. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Straight putts. Yeah. Putts
shows how much. Shows how
Total
often I look at that stat when I don't even know what putting average means.
Greens in regulation is number 3.
Okay.
Scrambling is number 4, and the all important total driving is number 5. So
all right, so he's archaic.
But okay, but like if you're gonna say there's flaws, or he didn't even say there's flaws, he said it's rubbish about strokes gained. The problem with putting from 5 to 10 feet, what about putts from 4 feet 11 inches? What about putts from 10 feet and 1 inch? Are those?
What about downhill putts from 5 to 10 feet versus uphill putts from 5 to 10 feet? He uses that in his argument against strokes gained, so why can't he use it in his argument for, you know, putting average or whatever it is from 5 to 10?
Then to have putting average. So putting average should be retired because of strokes gained. Because if you take 30 putts, but you hit every one of your approaches to 8 feet, and you took 30 putts and you hit every one of your approaches to 40 feet, that is completely different. So like that putting average should literally be retired. It shouldn't even exist anymore.
What if you hit 0 green and regs and your putting average is 18, but you just didn't make a birdie all day? Like, it's this guy's. I want to see his results. Like maybe he's got the system down. Maybe we're not giving him enough credit. What does he do with these stats? Or like, I don't know what he's using them for.
And then
giving out picks?
3 out of the 5 of these, he basically triple weights putting from 5 to 10 feet, because he has putting from 5 to 10. He has putting average, which in theory would also include your putts from 5 to 10 feet. And then he has scrambling, which is also a partial putting stat, because it's how often you get up and down when you miss the green. So this is like 3 different versions of putting stats, a green and regulation stat, and then total driving, which depending on what version of total driving he's using, that might be the 2 holes that they measure driving distance on, and then driving accuracy. It might not, like, this to me is beyond bonkers.
I don't even know. Was Elkington a good putter? He must think like he must be a good putter, because if he weighs putting this much, you must think it's the most important thing in the sport.
That's actually I
have no clue, but he might be very biased towards putting if that's how he made all his money. I don't know.
I bet you he led the tour in putting average for like years.
That's probably true. So he's just using whatever he was successful at for a handful of tournaments. That's the go-to. So I just for someone who he's promoting himself as stats, you know, providing information and kind of insight onto the tournament, and then just throwing away what is widely accepted as the most advanced stat, you know, package of stats that golf has, and most telling and very like. Once you learn what strokes gain, even just strokes gain total, very, very easy to understand. Mm-hmm. And then when you break it down by putting around the green, all that, it's fairly easy to understand. So it's not like, I don't know. And then there were some other people that just said they didn't really understand what it means, and it just kind of made it like a mockery of what strokes gained stats were. So obviously a slap in the face to you and everything you do behind the scenes.
I was personally attacked by this. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, and let's be real. Strokes gained, especially when you start breaking it down into around the green putting off the tee, it can get complicated. It can be hard to wrap your head around, especially when you're like, wait a minute, he's gaining strokes off the tee, but he missed every single fairway or things like that. So it's not that I even think that strokes gained is simple to understand, but to take any other even more flawed stat and say this is a better way to compare golfers against one another is wrong. And also tour pros would never feel that way. Like, and they don't. Like, every tour pro I've ever talked to usually knows their ranks in strokes gained metrics and what they need to improve on. So it was just, yeah, it definitely grinded my gears when I watched it.
Yeah. So when we were in this conversation yesterday on Twitter, someone, shout out to Taylor Easel, he sent a little screen clip of many what would consider DJ someone who's just not very in tune with stats, like probably just doesn't care about him at all. But apparently someone at the Valspar in 2019 asked DJ if he could guess his strokes gained season ranks without looking, just like, where do you rank? And apparently DJ was he rattled off everything he ranked. Like he knew exactly where he stood in all the categories. So, someone DJ doesn't, maybe it's the persona he gives off, or he doesn't really pay attention, but DJ, number one player in the world, clearly looks at strokes gained. JT looks at strokes gained. I know Rory's mentioned them and talked about them. So, I'm sure Bryson, he breaks him
Bryson
down. Like,
eats, sleeps, and drinks strokes gained.
he knows exactly where he stands driving. So to say that no one uses it, completely swing and a miss from Elk.
And it's not to say that stats are not flawed. They certainly are. And here's a little trick. And this is actually a question I get asked all the time. If you go to the PGA Tour's website and you click on any stat that you want, so like I'm going to try to find some like random stat here. Greens are fringe in regulation. That's probably pretty straightforward. But there's like, distance from center of the green, stuff like that. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, the PGA Tour literally like defines them for you. So like a lot of people get surprised, Eric, when they realize that one of the driving distance stats is only 2 drives around, that the tour predetermines which holes are being measured on. That usually blows people's mind.
That one's very flawed, driving distance. I mean,
Right.
It's telling in a way, but at the same time, I guess what do they do? Just assume that guys are going to hit driver here, and that's where they're going to measure it. Yeah. So again, doesn't make a ton of sense because you're not picking every. I guess it determines who hits it the longest on 2 holes, but yeah, definitely doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah, so average approach shot distance. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, the average distance in yards to the hole after the approach, the distance remaining must be determined by a laser. The shot must not originate from on or around the green, and it must end on or around the green. Note, around the green indicates the ball is within 3 yards of the edge of the green. So like they literally break down what all of these stats are. And I think people would be surprised if they actually went and read them. There is a driving distance for all drives, which is better, but the one that's just like straight driving distance is pretty ugly.
I'm on this page now too, and I think there might be too many stats. Like I'm just looking at like, what is approach distance dash par, like average distance to hole after, I guess average distance to hole after tee shot. What does that tell? I don't know what that story that tells. It's pretty much
yeah, I don't. Isn't that driving distance?
Isn't that it? Yeah, it's a way to tell driving distance, but yeah, there might be too many stats.
I like when they start breaking it up by first and 10th tee scoring. So there's like 20 different. So just scoring off the 10th tee early scoring, 10th tee early par 3 scoring, 10th tee early par 4 scoring. Like we're too deep now. We've gone too deep.
Sample sizes are all like 2, 3, like it's just nothing there. We're
10th
too
tee
far.
early par 3 scoring average. Let's see how even many rounds there are. And like, is there a big difference between 10th tee late round 2 scoring averages? So here we go. So last year, so here the current leader, hold on, let me see if I can get last year, because Matt Wallace, the leader last year had 20 holes. Seamus Power played 20 early 10th tee par 3s. We don't need these numbers.
No.
We don't need these
Okay.
numbers. Take all the effort you're putting into this and put the lasers at every single course.
Yeah, go build a new tower. I just found one. Average approach distance, birdie or better. So that's for me. That would seem like where are they making birdie and what was their average approach distance in, right? Like if I made 10 birdies from 110 yards, my average approach distance is 110. So the number one, Sang-Moon Bae. Number 2, Ricky Barnes. Number 3, John Senden. Number 4, George McNeil. Jonathan Bird, Johnson Wagner, Ryan Blom, David Hearn. Like this stat doesn't tell anything. These golfers stink.
Tell anything. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't tell anything. I always liked the reverse bounce back. So a bounce back is when you play a hole over par and then you play the next hole under par. So it's like, okay, he bounced back. There's a stat called reverse bounce back, which is when you play a hole under par and then you immediately give it away and play a hole over par. And that is, hold on, I want to find.
I got it here. This is going to be good. This doesn't tell me anything.
So I want to go to last year's because we'll have a bigger sample size than this, but let me see here. And they actually do it so the lower the number is better. So Russell Henley, in only 9% of his opportunities to make, okay, wait. So after he makes birdie or better, 9% of the holes after that, he played over par, which is the best rate. It's the lowest rate.
This almost makes there's better players at the top of this list, which makes sense.
Correct.
I want to go. I'm at the bottom now.
Yeah, where the guys who just
you can make sense. Yeah, Martin Trainer dead last. 23% of the time he made birdie and then followed it up with a bogey. That's
or worse.
That's
really bad.
It's
really bad.
Spieth was really 183 last year. Wow. That makes sense too.
So if you've got a couple hours to kill, head over to the PGA Tour stats page and see how ridiculous they all are, and then go read the descriptions at the bottom, and then decide what stats are flawed or not flawed yourself. But it's always a good time.
Or just stick to strokes gain. That tells a good story.
There you go. You could do that. The pros do use it. I can guarantee it. Little news. I wanted to bring this up with you because I read this article a couple of days ago, and it's from golf.com, and it is an article about Topgolf, and it is them cutting a deal with actually a town in Southern California, in El Segundo, where there is a 9-hole municipal golf course that is there, and Topgolf is now going to own and operate that course, and they are going to put they're going to put a lot of money into the course itself. They're going to add lights to it. They're going to improve the clubhouse. They're going to improve the restaurant. And then they're also adding a 2-tiered Topgolf range there as well. And to me, Eric, this was I thought this was pretty cool because, this is kind of the best of both worlds. You can kind of get people over there playing on the Topgolf range. If they want to go out to the real course, they can do that. There's nighttime golf available if you want to do that on the real side. I thought this was pretty slick and a way for Topgolf to kind of get into other places where land is an issue and they can kind of piggyback off of already existing courses and improve them.
No, yeah, I truthfully didn't read too deep into this. I saw they were buying it. It seems like a very smart idea. It's basically just Topgolf has a fun driving range beside a municipal course, right? And if you want to go actually test your skills on a course, I doubt this course is very long. It's maybe like a 9-hole par 3 or something like that, but still definitely a good way to, this could be like the future of growing if you want to do that quote unquote grow the game thing, because I think this is like the best of both worlds. People love Topgolf. I've never been.
Eric,
I know we don't have any in Canada. We were supposed to get one, but they haven't made their way up here yet. I would love to go eventually, but this seems like a very smart thing to do, because I could just, people they've done the Topgolf thing. They want to go see what the real golf course is all about, and then they have it right there. So I think this is smart and definitely a model that they could use moving forward.
I think I'm going to Topgolf tomorrow. I think I'm going to be there tomorrow morning.
So you see, you live in Vegas. I live in, it's like 40, I don't know, below freezing, whatever that is in Fahrenheit up here. So I don't really have these 32 luxuries. I can't just go to Topgolf like you can.
All right.
But.
Well, we'll have you down here. We'll go to Topgolf. Here's what I think the big thing is, because a lot of people, maybe people do realize this, like cities lose money on golf courses like this. I mean, the maintenance alone is incredibly expensive. So here were the economics of this. This course was losing $275,000 a year. So now, based on projections and based on the agreement that is in place between Topgolf and the city is going to get $100 million over the course of the next 50 years. So essentially $2 million a year instead of losing $275,000 a year. There's also going to be a plan to add more full-time jobs and things like this. So there are a few opportunities in business and government and all that stuff where things are a win-win, but on paper, this feels like one.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think this, like you said, there's dying golf courses all over the place. And if you throw up a Topgolf, even something similar to a Topgolf, I know there's some competitors out there that do something similar where it's interactive. I know Tiger has like the Pop Stroke stuff, which is like outdoor fun, interactive putting course. So like even just to spice it up with something with a little, take the, what's the word? The, this the uptight
the
stuffiness about golf courses and just throw something with flashy beside it. And I think that draws a lot of attention. If it's gonna work, it's definitely gonna work in California. I'll give them, that's definitely a good place to start. I don't know if you can just do this in some northernly states. So I would expect this to happen a lot moving forward. And I just kind of going through this article, I forgot that Callaway actually bought Topgolf. So a nice little combo there. I'm sure every Topgolf they have is just flush with Callaway clubs. So good way to brand yourself to a new generation, I guess, of golfers as well.
Yeah, they've always had the Callaway stuff in there. I think from years ago, before, I think when they first started, I think Callaway was like an investor and had like maybe 14% of Topgolf, and then I think they finally bought them out.
Can you bring your own clubs? You got to be able to bring your own clubs.
Oh yeah, of course.
Is it like, are you like a go hard if you bring your own clubs?
Yes and no. You're a go hard if you like bring your rangefinder and shoot the number like
there.
Well,
what's Topgolf like etiquette? Did you bring a glove? Can you bring a glove? Golf shoes? What are we doing here?
I wouldn't wear golf shoes. I would wear this might be wrong. I've worn a glove. Like if I was going there, I was out there for a while. Like I'm not gonna get blisters on my hands for this. Like I'm gonna wear the glove. But I think I'm on the border of, if I went one step further, I would be a joke there, I think.
So don't don't go in with like a tuck collar, pants, belt.
No,
don't do that. Okay.
No, just wear like your sweats or like your shorts or whatever. And
I feel like it'd be weird to walk in there with your own clubs too. I just feel like that's just kind of.
I see it. I see it a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, they've got sets there. The sets are they're set up right next to now. See, if you're really, they're not like the highest quality sets, right? Because they're expecting people to just bang them around constantly, right? So they're not like the best Callaway clubs you've ever seen. They're developed just for Topgolf, and they don't give you a full set. So they give you like, depending on what side you're on, you either get a 3-iron, 5-iron, 7-iron, 9-iron, or you get the 4, 6, 8 pitching. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that matters to you. If you care about the gaps, you might want to bring your own clubs.
Do people go there and practice, or is it strictly to play the game? I'm very curious about Topgolf.
It would be it would probably be expensive if you just used it as a driving range, because I mean the one in Vegas is probably the most expensive one just because of the touristy stuff. But I mean you're talking somewhere probably between $30 and $50 an hour for the bay. Now you could have 8 people with you and it's still $30 to $50 for the bay, right? So if you're going there just to grind balls, it's probably a bit expensive.
Just go grind and there's a party beside you and you're just sweating out, working on the, trying to figure out the wedge game. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
You might stand out.
You might stand out.
Pipe down.
But if you go there and, if practice is playing the games and hitting at the targets and then following along and trying to post a score, that's a little bit different. We go, my wife and I go, I mean, she hits, I hit 85% of the balls. She hits 15%, but we drink, and sometimes we've gone and we'll have breakfast there. They have good breakfast. So it turns into like a little bit, they got TVs all over the place. It's whatever you want, man. It's unbelievable.
All right. Well, I think there's one supposed to, there was some agreement for one to come to Canada somewhere in Toronto. So hopefully that's here in the not too distant future, but I'm
Well,
not
you
holding
actually
my
say
breath.
I actually think they're better in colder climates because you can
That's
have
I
them
know.
open
There's
all year
nowhere for
round.
me to hit balls right now because it's just cold. There's like
Right.
indoor domes, but those are junk because they just don't go anywhere. You just hit it into like a wall.
Yeah. You could throw up a Topgolf, you'd have your heated bay, and you could rock and roll.
All right. Well, I need some investors before I can start one of those.
I wonder how much they cost. If they want to build a new Topgolf, like I couldn't even imagine how much that costs. I
We
guess a
have an
lot of
outdoor
it's
driving range down here in Toronto that's like all concrete. The balls are apparently like ping pong balls because after the dimples just hit concrete and are worn out, so it's like junk. So that seems like a logical place for Topgolf to just slide in and build one, but still haven't seen it.
I guess the land is expensive. That's probably the most expensive
Yeah.
part about it. Otherwise, they just throw up the nets, they throw in the technology or whatever. But that seems, the land, I guess, depending is not cheap. Speaking of rangefinders, I don't know how much time we need to spend on this because this has been pretty well documented. But the PGA of America now going to let in its 3 majors, so that's PGA Championship, Women's PGA Championship, and the Senior PGA Championship, starting this year, rangefinders. Or what they call distance measuring devices. And as soon as I read this, Eric, I was like, cool, it'll speed up the game. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, nope, no, it won't. Because people who
That's
actually
exactly what I thought.
because people who actually know better came in and was like, no, like pros don't use rangefinders in the same way amateurs do. Like I shoot the flag and that number, it doesn't matter if it's 157, 152, 159. I'm hitting the same club, right? It doesn't matter.
You're not worried about the swale that's 4 feet in front of the pin. You're trying to fly it, 4 feet in front or trickle it down, or even the swale behind, use the backboard. You're not worried about that. Give me the pin. What is it?
Right.
Maybe figure out where the center of the green is and aim for that. Yeah, these guys use it differently. So it's just what it is just another tool in their calculation, and they're still going to do all the same things they've done before. And now they're just going to use a gun to double check. And I saw a great GIF of, Bryson when he was at the range, like banging his head at the Open Championship, just like so frustrated. It was like
melting down.
It was like Bryson when he's got 121 to the flag, 144 to the back or something, but the gun says 122, and he's just like so frustrated. Can't figure out why there's a yard off. So yeah, I think it's going to be it's just going to be another calculation or another step in the process and not really speed it up as much as people think.
Yeah, and that's what they were like. And anytime there's a discrepancy, I think it was John Wood who was on Twitter.
Yeah, that's who changed my mind.
Yeah, he was like, it's going to grind to a halt. Like anytime our number is different than what we shoot, like now we're going to have to triple and quadruple check it and figure it out. And this is actually going to slow things down, which I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. But like, I guess just shooting the number with the flag is not good enough for these guys.
No, the only areas I could see it like picking up, like helping pace of play is when a guy's way offline, and instead of Bryson walking the only example I really have, but him pacing off 110 yards to go check the green. Hopefully he would just use his gun and hit the pin, and then that's the distance to the stick. Hopefully he doesn't have to use the gun and then pace it off to double check. But that's the only time I think it would increase or help pace of play. But at the same time, if you're a competitor and your buddy, so your playing partner's off in the rough, you want him to be at a disadvantage because now he's guessing a little bit where the pin exact distance for the pin is. Now, if he has that he's removing that doubt from his mind. So from a competitive standpoint, I just don't think these guys would want, I don't know. I guess when you're out of position, you want to use it, but when you're in position, you don't want your playing partner to use it. So it seems very odd. And also no one was really asking for it. No one was making a beating the drum for who. I don't maybe there are, I don't know who's asking for rangefinders. They use them in practice rounds. That's fine. But no one's we need rangefinders during play to help speed up the pace of play. I've never heard that ever.
I can't wait for one guy to miss the flag and shoot the tree behind the green, and then he flies it right into the back of the tree. You ever do that? I can't get it to click on the flag. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not 140.
That can't be right. That can't be right.
You just sit there. Yeah. See, this is exactly what I mean. Or the flag's not waving, or battery's dying.
Then I start shooting. The guy standing on the green. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah,
he's
buddy,
like
stop
kind of in the
moving.
middle. Yeah, stop moving around. Sit there for a second.
I just got one of those for Christmas, so I'm excited to start using it this summer. But I was always that guy mooching off my buddy. Hey, can you throw me the gun? I need a number. So now I don't have to be that guy anymore.
The best thing I ever had was, and the strap broke, and it was I never got it fixed or anything. I had the watch, and all it would tell you was front, middle, back. Like that is all the numbers that I need. And I had it right on my wrist. I didn't need anything to carry in my pocket or shoot or anything like that. And I just knew I had my front number, my back number, and my middle number. And I didn't really care where the pin was. That to me was the best. I don't
think I can play with something on my wrist. That's my only issue. No. I don't know. It just feels weird. But
does Bubba still play with that like $500,000 watch?
I think so. Well, there's a few guys. I think Phil still straps on the leather band too. There's a few guys who play with the watches on. Now they all have the whoop straps too. So there's something on everyone's wrist. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's just one tournament. I wish they would have done it at like the Zurich Classic just to test it out, or another event, not a major championship, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's actually a good point when it was like, who was asking for this? Like, why? Like, is the PGA of America just being like, look, we're making progress, we're doing things, I don't know. I don't even want to say the word helping, because I'm not sure helping is the right answer. Is this just a way to be doing something?
Yeah, it just seems like they wanted to make a change, and this is the only thing they could come up with. It's been said on out there already, but like, this was one advantage that amateurs, like weekend warriors, like you and I, this was an advantage we had, or like a tool we could use that pros couldn't, and made the game easier for us in a way. And now they have the advantage that we have. So it's just like kind of, some people are clamoring for them to make the game harder by changing the equipment. Now this is a way to give them more equipment to make the game easier. So it just seems a little bit backwards from these are the best guys in the world. They have caddies for a reason. Let them. I also think like doing math on the spot and, being able to hit a shot. I'm going to reverse. This all comes back to enforcing pace of play to begin with. Like, that's why pace of play has gotten out of hand, is because we're allowing guys to pace off shots. We're allowing them to sit over, double check, triple check their numbers, do the math over and over. Like, if they're at a shot clock and your caddy can't figure out the number in like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, then your caddy stinks. This is an advantage for having a good caddy. And this almost just takes away any advantage someone might have because they trust every number their caddy gives them.
What would be the single fastest, easiest way to speed up the game? One thing. It's not rangefinders.
Shot clock.
Give them carts. Shot clock?
Shot clock. You get to your ball, you put your bag down, or like 40 seconds, you better be pulling the trigger.
Or you get a penalty stroke. Or what? But then what if it's like, oh, I'm going to use my time bank. I need a little extra time on this. Well,
they did this on the European tour with that shot clock Masters, and they were playing like 3.5 hour rounds. They were flying. And
would golf carts speed it up?
Probably. I think so. I don't think. My take on golf carts is they don't speed up the game for like really bad golfers, because you spend a lot of time driving around and like zigzagging, and there's two guys in the cart and you're buzzing all over the fairway.
You have to go 100 yards that way. You have to go 100 yards that way.
But when you're really good at golf, you just hit, right down the middle of the fairway, right to the green, and away you go. So yeah, if you want to speed it up that way, that's fine. I also think there's a skill in playing fast and trying to remove like. One of the biggest things that golfers can mess up is just not being sure while they stand over the ball, whether that's yardage, whether that's wind, whatever that's, club selection, whatever it might be. So in order to pull the trigger in 30, 45 seconds, there's a skill to that. And that's why, like, when DJ plays, it's like, my God, this guy doesn't think about anything. He just steps up, hits it. He's the best player in the world. Then you got other guys thinking all the time.
DJ's making contact while his playing partner's ball is like still in the air.
There's nothing better than like, they... They broadcast can't even pick up his swing, and you just see the follow through. And DJ's already hit. He's raring to go. So like, it's proven that you don't need to take time to play well, because DJ does it all the time.
Last thing on this, because this is PGA of America. It does not influence literally anything else. And are we going to get to the point where, whether this is local rules with equipment, whether it is you can use a rangefinder here, but you can't use it there, maybe we let you wear shorts here. Like, are we just going to have like 9 different sets of rules that these guys are going to have to follow over the course of a year?
It seems like we're going that way because, like, if this rollback thing ever comes, like Augusta will play the Augusta ball, and then there's going to be the rangefinder opens. There's going to be maybe, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever see golf carts, but you could see that. I don't really care about the shorts, but yeah, PGA Tour might let the dress code go wild. So like every week could be a little bit different from that standpoint. I wish there was a little more cohesion between them all. But yeah, this is the PGA of America trying to make some noise without really, no one's even asking for it. So it was very strange, but is what it is.
No one's asking for the noise, yet they are making it. Okay, Pat, anything else we should chat on before we kick it?
What is your takeaway about? I haven't heard about your take on what you saw from Spieth last week. Is he back, or are you cautiously optimistic? What's going on there?
Yeah, I think very cautiously optimistic, or at least for this week. I think I was still feeling like if what we saw last week and then we rolled to Torrey Pines in a place where you just can't miss the fairway or whatever, I'd be like, let's wait and see on Spieth. But to go to a place where he has had a lot of really good success, maybe he can do it again this week. And then when you start to get, I think it will be interesting. This is such an important week for him because if you can start putting together top 10s, you can start getting yourself back in contention a lot. I think that's really good for what he needs to happen, right? I was kind of, even like a year ago, I was like, he should play every event because this guy needs to find a win somewhere. Like, I don't care what it is. He needs to just be the best golfer for a single week. But if we start putting together a couple of really good finishes for him, he starts to get that swag back a little bit. I think he could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Like, I don't think like you said, like last week, now this week, that probably couldn't have happened at a better time if he continues that success. I was very encouraged. He led the field strokes gained approach. So that has to mean something because I don't know when the last time he did that in the tournament was. You might know better than me, but it's probably been, 3-4 years. So definitely a step in the right direction. And like a solid field too. Like he was beating Xander, Brooks. So some names in that field that he beat out, but definitely lost with the driver still. And I think we saw that on Sunday.
Yeah, he has no idea where it's going. He just absolutely no clue. Sometimes
it's so bizarre for someone at his level. Like he's clearly like mental. Like as soon as he puts a tee in the ground, like he forgets how to hit the ball, which is weird.
He will club twirl a ball that misses the fairway by 3 yards because that's like a good miss. Like that's like a good shot.
Spieth twirls every shot he takes, I believe. You can't tell if I saw him. I think today he kind of like hooked one out of a fairway bunker and club twirled and it went into another bunker. So I don't know if that's very telling. Yeah, I don't know if his twirl means anything.
His twirl game is very strong. No matter what happens, he just lets it fly. I love it. Sweet. Epat, much appreciated. At Epat Golf on Twitter. You can find his work on The Score. You can read his Quick 9 newsletter, which is now Monday and Wednesday? Thursdays. Okay.
Yeah.
Now on Thursdays. Which is always a great source of fun, entertainment, information, all that good stuff. Eric, much appreciated as usual.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good week at Pebble, and we'll see for Riviera. Finally, we got another big boy event coming right around the corner.
I love the Riv.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at RickRunGood. This has been 300 Yards to Unknown. I will catch you next time.